Hello, everybody out there, Raven fans, Oriole fans. Thank you very much for joining us this week on our Ravery Sports podcast. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. So, if you're watching this, thank you for joining us. Our first broadcast live here on Twitch, here on Twitter, here on YouTube. So, definitely, those are our first broadcasts. We have been showing you also too on Rumble. So definitely check that out as well. Definitely, you can also go to our Ravery Sports Facebook page. It's on there. Definitely all the videos if you definitely want to check us out. A little more edited. So many problems with Facebook and all that stuff. So go ahead. They're a little bit more on there as well. So they're not live, but they're still on there if you want to check us out on Facebook there as well. So also to check out our website, Ravery Sports company.site. You can get these type hats. Yes, we still have them, even though we haven't been playing well lately. Oriole hats like this. You can ask for this on request. Oriole sweatshirt. Kids going back to school. My kids are already back to school. Maybe you got a child here, want to go back, put them in an Orioles sweatshirt. So definitely check that out. All of our social media platforms, check it out as well. LinkedIn, Instagram, all that stuff. We're all covered. No TikTok now. They shut it down. I'm not going to right now. I got enough to do. All right. So no TikTok currently. Maybe at some point we'll go ahead and do some more TikTok. Genesis Notary Services, Facebook.com. Definitely our Notary Stream website is on September 2nd. Go ahead, Wade.
Hi, Ravery Sports.
There you go, Raven fans. There's the little Ravery, the littlest Ravery in the house. So it's Genesis Notary Services live stream September 2nd. So that's coming up soon, Labor Day. All of you in the Shenandoah Valley area, definitely check us out for our stream there. We're going to be talking a lot about the notary business. So we're not going to just be around 5-10. We're going to be digging into some things on the notary business as well. So definitely for all of you out there, especially if you know any signing companies that want to sign, or if you know anybody with business or anything like that, started doing real estate recently. So moving into that as well. So real estate signings, closings, and things like that. So definitely check that out. If you want September 2nd, our Notary Services live stream, or if you want to book a session, Genesis Notary Service, Facebook.com. Harris Legal Shield. So definitely check that out. Value of Legal Shield is awesome. So definitely, if you are having legal issues, if you are, especially if you have a small business like me, you're running a business and hey, you need somebody to collect money from you. If you are a parent, especially, get a will done. Get a will done. Get a will done. We have discounts for that. We have things that we can give you if you go ahead to get a will done, especially if you're child support court, custody court, things like that. You may need, definitely having hours for a lawyer is great. So definitely check that out as well. Legal Shield, definitely check that out. See Charles Harris Legal Shield. We are LegalShield.com, or you can go to our Facebook page, Legal Shield, Harris Legal Shield. Check it out. This Sunday, next 2 Sundays we're going to be on. Next Sunday, our Maryland Terps preview edition of the Ravery Sports Podcast. We are going to preview the Terps season. Who's going to start at quarterback? Is it going to be MJ Morris? Is it going to be Billy Edwards, who started in the bowl game? MJ Morris, a transfer from North Carolina State. Cameron Edge has looked pretty good. So we will talk about that. Who wins the Big Ten? We don't have to play Michigan. We don't have to play Ohio State. USC is better than what people are saying. So we're going to talk about that as well. Definitely Maryland football preview as well. And next Sunday after that, before the NFL season starts, we are going to have our NFL predictions preview. Been working on that for a while. We're definitely going to roll that out as well. And also to no graphic foil, we are going to have a pregame the night before the season starts and post. So we're going to have coming on. I think it'll be about 7:15, 7:30 before the Ravens Chiefs game, and we're definitely going to be on recapping it after the game, post mortem, the first game of the season. All right, let's get down to the business of the NFL. All right, NFL business here, and let's get to business. Training camp, the last practice by media was viewed yesterday. The Ravens are going to play in Green Bay this week. Last preseason game, they're going to have joint practice. And now what we're going to do, who's going to be there in Kansas City? Who is going to be on the 53-man roster? So this is going to be our last podcast before they announce it on Tuesday. So let's go ahead and go over our predictions for 53-man roster. This is all 100%, and prediction videos are sometimes what you think. In this case, this is what I think they'll do, right? Not so much me, what I would do always, but a little bit. I think the Ravens are going to line up this way with the 53-man roster. Quarterback, I think it's 2 and not 3. I don't think there's any question about, obviously, Lamar Jackson, one of the best quarterbacks, if not the best quarterback in the league. Number 1, QB1, Josh Johnson, QB2. That's it. Josh Johnson, I think, might have saved his spot with a good performance in the last game. He's been kind of shaky in camp. From everything I'm reading, he hasn't been great. He was good on Saturday. I think he's good enough to play in one game. I kind of stand by that. I don't think I think they're going to bring somebody in to play if it's a stretch of games. I think they'll look at a Tannehill or something like that after the season starts if it's not going well. But I think they feel like, okay, let's save a few bucks here and then Josh Johnson in. Leary, I don't think he's even going to be on the practice squad. Devin Leary, and I doubt it. I think Emory Jones might have a shot for a practice squad. I'm not sure either one of them is going to be on it, though. I think Emory Jones might have a shot at it. He looked decent enough in the game. I think they're probably fighting for practice squad spots. I think both of them might go the whole way in the game against Green Bay. Now, running backs. Green Bay, 6. Derrick Henry, obviously the big free agent addition in the offseason. Justice Hill, who we've hardly seen in preseason, but for sure he's on the team. Owen Wright, I thought has been outstanding so far in camp. And Pat Ricard, obviously, at fullback. I don't think Ali makes it. I think Ali definitely is a sure bet for the practice squad if somebody else takes him. But I think Owen Wright's outplayed him. I think it's pretty obvious. Ali was pretty good in the last game, but it's clear he was behind on the depth chart to Owen Wright. So Owen Wright definitely was playing earlier. Not also, too, you have to look at, when you're looking at a lot of these things, especially in preseason games, not how well they played also, but when they played, right? If one guy's playing much earlier than another one, they're ahead of them on the depth chart in a lot of cases. So you might be playing good late in the fourth quarter, but if you didn't get into like the third, that kind of tells you what they think. But I think Ali will get in. Keaton Mitchell, I think, is obviously going to be here at some point. But I mean, pretty much we know he's going to start on IR or PUP to start the season. So I don't think he'll be on the 53. I'm pretty sure. I think it'll be PUP in his case. He'll miss the first 4-6 games. Wide receiver. Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman, Nelson Aguilar, Tylan Wallace, Devontae Walker, Deontay Hardy. Flowers, there's no question about it. I think he's the best receiver by a good distance. Bateman, I think, again, you almost want to say he had a good camp, but he's missed so much time here and there. He is a good enough player. They can keep him healthy. I think he'll be fine. Aguilar, been a little shaky in camp, but I'm not as worried about him. I mean, he's a vet. He's been around a long time. Tylan Wallace, I think, is probably going to be their fourth receiver. I think moved up the depth chart here. I think definitely by circumstances or not, I definitely think he's going to be there. Definitely he's good on special teams, we know. Devontae Walker, been battling injuries, but I don't think he gets cut. I think he's there. A little disappointing in camp, I think, because he has not really, I was kind of maybe seeing if he could challenge for that third spot. That definitely hasn't happened. I don't know how much he's going to contribute early. He's just getting back healthy. So we'll see. Deontay Hardy, I think, takes the sixth spot, the kick return spot. I definitely think he's going to be there. Somewhat Wade there at the wide receiver. I don't think he makes it. I don't think There is a possibility they could take 7 receivers. I don't know about that. They ordinarily they only take 6. They usually don't keep 7 receivers. So I think it's 6. These are the 6. I think Bateman, Flowers, Bateman, Aguilar, Wallace, Walker, Hardy. I think Hardy is there, even though again, but like I would say this. This is the position group I think has been very quiet in camp of all the of everywhere. I think it's really tough to tell. I know why some people are wanting Wade and Kirkland and a lot of these guys. I mean, because they haven't shown much here in camp, so it's hard to tell. No brain here, obviously. You would think I'm crazy if I didn't do this. Mark Andrews, Isaiah Likely, Charlie Kolar, no question about it. The only question here is this the best tight end room in the entire NFL? Charlie Kolar, I think. Mark Andrews is an all-pro. Isaiah Likely, I think, is a future starter in the league. No question about it. I think Charlie Kolar actually might have a bigger long-term future with the Ravens. I think they might be trying to turn him into the new version of Nick Boyle, blocking tight end. So that's at 3. Offensive line. Above the line is the starters. Ronnie Stanley, Andrew Voorhees, Tyler Linderbaum, Daniel Falele, Roger Rosengarten. Who else makes it? Patrick McCarty, obviously he's going to be there. Josh Jones, rookie Nick Semek, Ben Cleveland, and Salalatu. Falele, I gotta think they're looking at something here. I think they cannot be. I think they're saying that Falele. They're all but saying that Falele is going to start at right guard. I can't imagine they've been happy with what they've been seeing. I can't imagine that's right. But that's as of right now. That's what it looks like. Stanley, Voorhees, Linderbaum, Falele, Rosengarten. Voorhees, I think, has played well enough to start. I think he had the little gaff there in the last game. He's not a rookie, but he's never really played in the game yet. Going to make some mistakes. Same with Rosengarten. I think you've seen enough there. I really think they're going to try hard to keep McCary in the 6 role. We have so much value as well. Linderbaum and Stanley injuries, very quiet for them. Little concerned about Linderbaum. They're saying it's okay, but he hasn't played in so long. They could just be being extra cautious or really want to see reps. I think it's 10 too. I think they definitely here can't be that confident, and they're going to keep 10 guys. McCary is probably the for sure. Josh Jones, I think, makes the team. I think I think there's some versatility there. Samek, I think if he's healthy enough, I think he was running with the first team, so that kind of tells me what they think of him. Cleveland seems to be in Harbaugh's doghouse all the time. I don't think I think they keep him though. I think they keep him. And Salah, not a great camp for him apparently, but I think they keep 10. I think he stays. I don't think they do anything else there with him. If it is 9, I think he could go though. I don't think they will, but I think if it is 9, I think he would be the one to go. I think they would keep everybody else. Absolutely no drama here as well. Matt Abuke, Michael Pierce, Broderick Washington, John Harbaugh guy, Brent Irvin, Travis Jones. Only thing is Jones going to start over Pierce. I don't think they're going to announce that initially. Travis Jones has been terrific during camp. This would be a shock if anything else happened. It's somewhat for sure here. I would say there's been nothing shocking or no rookie or anything like that would take the spot. If they did carry 6 or something like that, they would bring somebody else in, or possibly there's an injury we don't know about. But that's I'm very, very confident that's what's going to look like that. And tight end, I'd be shocked if it looked any other way. Linebacker. All right. The starters, Adafi Owe, Roquan Smith, Trent Simpson, Kyle Van Noy. Van Noy can start. A little concerned about his age. He had a great year last year, more sacks than usual. Really, again, I think maybe in his case, I think maybe they were almost hoping that somebody would outplay him. Really hasn't happened. Devarius Robinson, probably the closest to that. Maybe they stick him in a starting role. I don't know. I don't think so. I think it's Van Noy as well. Isaac, I don't know how much he contributes just at the outside linebacker. David Ajabo as well, finally healthy. I tell you what, I've been hard on Ajabo, but he really seems like a great guy. Listening to his interviews and everything like that, what a good guy David Ajabo is. What a positive soul. I can kind of see more now why he's getting. I'm not giving him a pass on the field because he hasn't done anything, but it really seems like a good guy here. I was impressed with David Ajabo listening to him. Chris Board, I think special teams as well. Malik Harrison as well. Good backup inside linebackers, I think. Veteran guys. Malik Harrison, just like his 5th year with the team. Chris Board back with the Ravens. So good linebacker group, I think. Inside, you're very strong. Outside, you're still looking for the pass rush. Question mark. I don't know if it's anybody there, but I'm a little less worried about it because Matt Abuke has arrived. Like he's going to get you a lot of sacks. Couple more. Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stevens for sure. They're going to start. Nate Wiggins is going to be the nickel. Some people would say that's a starting position. I still have it. Top back up there. TJ Tampa, Jalen Armour Davis is going to be on there. This is the 5 I think they're going to go with. Arthur Millette is going to be on the team. I don't know how that goes. I don't know if they're going to just, a nasty 53 and immediately put him on IR, put him on PUP. For the purposes of the first game, he's not going to be there. So I think at some point he's going to be there and take the spot. A lot of people seem to be convinced that Jalen Armour Davis and Pepe Williams have made this team. They've been good in camp. Here's the problem. We've kind of seen this movie before. They've been good in camp. They haven't been good in the regular season. They made all these moves for a reason. I'm not as convinced. I think Armour Davis, because of the Millette injury, has kind of played his way, at least for now, on there. But I don't want to be too disrespectful, but I'm not as convinced. Everybody seems to be so convinced that they played so well where they have. I'm not as convinced. I think Davis, though, has done enough, and there is a spot open where he's going to stay there as well. I think practice squad for sure. I think that's a thing. Few more spots. 50. Go to safety. Kyle Hamilton, Marcus Williams, Eddie Jackson, Adarius Washington, Bo Braid, Sesame Kane. That's the tail end. That's 6 out there. Did I get it right? Yeah, 6. There we go. I didn't got it. Okay, so Kyle Hamilton. I think there's no question about it. If he's not the best safety in the league, he's one of the best in the league. I think Marcus Williams is outstanding as well. I think health has kind of bugged him, but I think he's top shelf as well. Eddie Jackson, bit of a reclamation, but so many years. One thing he did do well for so many years is take the ball away. So that's definitely something there. Now playing as a backup. Darius Washington, can't wait to see it. I don't know if he's going to start in nickel corner or not, but definitely he's going to be on the field. Darius has been really good. Just got to get him healthy enough. Kane, I think, I think he's had good camp. I think he's had some injury issues. But I think in spite of it, I think he's been also good. And Bo Braid, I commented that it looked exactly like it looked at Maryland last year. Very quiet, 8 tackles. Right? Everybody kept saying that Jason Parham was the best player that Maryland had. And I kept saying Bo Braid because the stat sheet kept saying 8, 10, 11, 12. This guy, I think he's made the team. I think they keep him. I think they're very excited to have him. He may get overlooked because he's not a highlight film, but I think he's made it. I think he's been very impressive, and I think they're going to keep him for special teams and his tackling ability. Never misses a tackle. Justin Tucker, Jordan Stout, Nick Moore. They got Nick Moore back, so I'm sure they're happy about that. He had to miss all last season. Stout, not a great camp, apparently. And Tucker is the GOAT, greatest kicker of all time. No question about it, going to the Hall of Fame. There you go. You're 53, Baltimore Ravens. Good roster, guys. Good roster. Concerns at a couple places. Backup quarterback still a concern for me. Obviously, the offensive line. One thing with the line, we haven't really seen him with Lamar yet. We haven't really seen him with Henry yet. We haven't really seen him with the first unit really going. That will help. I think you're going to see a lot of stuff to the tight ends early. We'll see. But definitely a concern. You're going to have, three guys that have never started before. Period. So you got two guys you're going to have against Kansas City. Voorhees will probably start, and Rosegard for sure will probably start. They've never played the game. Interesting. Tough first game against Kansas City. So we will see about that as well. But I think that's what the 53 looks like when they actually roll it out on Tuesday. Thumbs up. Talking more about the game that happened with the Falcons on Saturday. Thumbs up. Josh Johnson, I think, saved his roster spot with the Ravens. I think they would have been making some calls if he had played poorly, played well. I think they know what they're getting. I don't think they're overjoyed with his performance, but I think they know what they're getting. They're going to save some money here with the guy, take a shot on the guy. Lamar's going to do most of the heavy lifting. So happy to have Josh Johnson. Trent Simpson, no reason for him to play anymore in the preseason. No reason. Let's not. We've seen enough. No reason for him to play in the last game. There's no reason. Bo Braid led the team in tackles in the last game. He had 8 tackles in the last game. I think he's made the team. I can't imagine I don't know if you can risk cutting him. That's the other thing that goes into these decisions. Can you risk? Is somebody else going to pick him up? I'm sure they would. So I definitely would think that's right. Owen Wright, I think, has been good all camp as well. So shout out to Owen Wright. I think he's going to be on the roster. Interesting to see how that goes. David Ojabo. I'm rooting for David Ojabo. I think David Ojabo seems like a good guy. He was on the field at least, which is good. So shout out to David Ojabo actually getting on the field. We're still a big question mark, though. We still don't know anything yet about David Ojabo on the field. Let's see if they can keep him healthy. Hey, they would love nothing more than to have David Ojabo and Adafi Owe starting at the. All right, so let's go ahead and get squared away. So we did thumbs up. Who is thumbs down? Daniel Falele. I'm almost convinced that this is a smokescreen that they want to start Falele at right guard. He just hasn't looked good. I don't know what else to say about that. I wish I could say something else. I was really trying to maybe something else, but yeah, he hasn't looked good. But I gotta think that smoke. Maybe there's a trade. Maybe there's something going on. I gotta think that. Ben Cleveland didn't play as well at center. Had a big gap. Snapped the ball in the game without like Josh Johnson being not in communication with a center. He's not a center. That's not what you do with a guy who's played guard his whole career and put him at center. Center is different, I think, almost than any other spot. So interesting to see how that goes. Voorhees not as well in this game as well. A bit of a gaffe that he made, kind of jumped off our guy, got blown up. Not as good, but I think overall one play, but a little bit of a concern as we go along, as teams see him more, have more film on him. Devontae Walker really quiet in this one as well. I think he hasn't been really healthy for whole camp. I think that's probably been part of it as well. And Devin Leary wasn't any good again. I'd be shocked if they even kept him on practice squad. I don't think so. So that's how they look. Thumbs up, thumbs down. One more game is on Saturday. That'll be the last preseason game. They're actually going to do some joint practices, and that will be that. Then we will go into the regular season. Let's talk about the regular season coming up. A couple more of these left. Next week, the safeties. One last one before the season starts, the coaches. So we're talking about who are the top 10 cornerbacks in the National Football League. It is tough now to pick out really good corners and safeties. Very tough. Defenses are very different. They play a lot more DBs. It's a lot more specialized. You really see a lot of what I call the Deion Sanders coverage. One guy, man-to-man, no safety help. One guy who's a gambler gets there's a lot of mix and match there. So sometimes it is hard to pick out the best ones. Also, it depends on the defense and the run and how aggressive or unaggressive they are, etc. However, these are the 10 I think that would be the best on any defense, right? These I think are the 10 best going into the next season. Again, but I think of all the lists, this was the hardest to project. This was hard to go ahead and just pick 10 to project in the next season. Yes, Trayvon Diggs is here. I think Trayvon Diggs, is the biggest ball hawk. I think in the NFL as far as at the cornerback position. He's the guy that's going to take it and go the other way. Does he still have that though? That's the thing. I think that's him at his best. I think that's what he does best. But they're kind of more taking him into a more traditional corner role. I don't know if he's as good at that, but I can tell you his athleticism, I think, is top notch. So I really still like Trayvon Diggs. I think I'd put him in the top 10. I take him in the top 10. He's going to get a lot of picks, take the ball the other way. Had some injury issues last year. I think that's why he's down there, but I could easily see him going much higher. I think he's a little bit behind his teammate, DaRon Bland. DaRon Bland was terrific last year. I think he's one of the league leaders in interceptions in all the leagues. So they didn't have Trayvon Diggs for a bunch of last year, but they had DaRon Bland. Now, they also last year had Stephon Gilmore there, so they were staying away from him. He was getting those opportunities. This year, I think probably they're going to stay away from Diggs, throw it Bland, and Bland was actually taking the ball away a lot. So excellent all-around corner, though. I think he's not just the ball hawk to take away, even though he's got great ball skills. But Bland, I think I have him at 9. I think the Cowboys are excellent at corner. Jalen Ramsey, for so many years, he was the default number 1. I don't know where to put Ramsey. I really was struck. This was really the biggest guy on the list because I'm not sure where to put Ramsey. Top 10, but is he still top 3, 4? I don't know. I could tell you this. The way he looked at the end of last year definitely has him in the top 5, definitely top 3. Problem is, he's coming off an injury and he's getting a little older. So I'm not as sure if that's going to. I can't put him any higher than 8. I definitely think he's top 10. I think his performance last year was higher, but I do think it'll be a little slippage for him. I'm going to put him at 8. Hard to rank Ramsey because I really like him. I think Ramsey is terrific as far as that goes. Behind Denzel Ward, I think he's just similar to Ramsey in his prime. I think Denzel Ward, is probably, this was the number 1 defense in the NFL that they had. I think the 2 guys that they had, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward. Ward is the guy, avoid. Take the ball away. He's definitely a guy who could take the ball away. I think he hits much better than he's given credit for. I think that's the thing I like about him. He's not just a guy who is going to take the ball away and anything like that, but he's also got some physicality to him. I think he's almost too much so. I like to almost see it a little bit less from him because I think he hit, but I think Denzel Ward is absolutely top shelf. Number 7. Titans signed L'Jarius Sneed from the Chefs in the offseason. I tell you what, the Chefs tight corners last year were uber impressive. All impressive the Chefs tight ends were last year. They were terrific. I thought they were. So the Chefs, I think, were terrific. He signs with Tennessee. I think this was a tremendous signing for Tennessee. You could argue which one is better, but Sneed, I think, took guys out of the game. It doesn't matter who it was for them. They definitely did the hard work. Man-to-man, no safety help. That's what they did a lot last year in Kansas City. The defense was better. I think it was better because their corners were great. L'Jarius Sneed is great. I thought he's terrific. I don't care that he moved teams. I think this is a top shelf guy. Number 6, L'Jarius Sneed. Behind Jalen Johnson, we talked a lot about the Bears and Caleb Williams and their offense. Jalen Johnson, I think, is the guy they don't talk about. I think he was terrific on the corner. I love his size. He's excellent physicality. He's not the blazer that sometimes he's not the archetype, I guess, of a corner, but I think he's terrific. Plays a good all around game. Does a lot of things well. Blitzes well. Plays guys well. Plays zone. I think he can play man. I think he can do a multitude of things. So that's why I like Jalen Johnson. His PFF stats, I think, were terrific. PFF agrees with me. I think love Jalen Johnson. I think maybe actually he's 5 on this list, and I think he's still underrated. Don't hear a lot of talk about how good of a corner Jalen Johnson is. I think he's terrific at 5. I think also a guy that you don't hear a lot about is Charvarius Ward. I think this guy is one of one. It's funny. He kind of goes under the radar. He's a guy. I'm not comparing him like to LeBron James as far as being the best in the league, but I think you could put him in any position in the secondary and he'd be on a top 10 list. Does a lot well. Definitely, he covers guys well on the outside. He hits very well. I think he blitzes very well. I think he reads coverage as well. I think he, again, not the fastest guy, I don't think, but man, he's active. You know where he is at all times on the field in that defense. I mean, look, he's got a lot of great defensive players with him, but Charvarius Ward, I think, is definitely one of the reasons why they have one of the better defenses in the NFL. I think, again, multitude of skills when you talk about Charvarius Ward. So absolutely number 4. Behind Patrick Surtain. It kind of felt like maybe he had a down year, but Patrick Surtain is still the real deal. Second generation corner. His dad was also a really good corner for many years. I think this is probably the best player they have on the defense. I think there's no question about it. I think that's part of it. I mean, you don't want to obviously throw at him because there's not a lot there in Denver. So this is definitely a guy. I think that's kind of what happened. In part, I don't think teams really want to challenge him as well. So that could kind of happen sometimes with a really good corner. They cannot, kind of seems like they're out of a game and they're not doing much because, you're not throwing at them a whole lot. I don't think he's challenged as much, but I think he's a really good corner. He didn't ascend. Some people thought maybe he was number 1 or going to ascend higher, but I think he's really good. I take him more than I would a lot in the league. One of the players that opened my eyes up so much last year in terms of his talent was Trent McDuffie. He was, I thought, the best on-ball guy, one of them in the league. Well, I am 2 as far as man-to-man coverage than one I ever seen. I mean, I did not see, somebody correct me in the comments, if you saw Trent McDuffie get beat all season, or somebody get big separation against him, or somebody do. The corners that they had were terrific, and I thought McDuffie was fantastic last year. So I definitely have him in the top shelf. I think this is why when they have to spend so much money on Snead, hey, we want to keep Trent McDuffie here because he was terrific. I have him number 2. I think he was fantastic. The on-ball coverage is what we look at for corners. What we want a corner to do is cover. If he's on Trent McDuffie, he's covered. Like Zay Flowers in that first game, better figure out a way to get away from this guy because I'm sure Zay is going to be following him around. But Hot Sauce Gardner, number 1. Still so young, still so gifted. He doesn't look like a corner, does he? Always does. He's so tall, lean, got long arms. Definitely tough to get away from, and faster than he looks, if that makes sense, because he's so tall and kind of, doesn't look like the traditional corner. But man, he's so fast. Guys, no separation with these guys. None. Sauce Gardner. You're not going to waste time throwing the ball. I think him and Surtain, and they're going to be avoided a lot. So it may affect their stats. Some people might say, well, maybe, but you don't throw at these guys. You don't waste your time doing that. I think McDuffie and Gardner, I think, is one. The Jets, I think the Jets defense is loaded as well. Hot Sauce Gardner, number 1 cornerback in the NFL. There you go. All right. So definitely check that out there, where Hot Sauce Gardner is going to be the number 1 corner in the NFL. Next week, we're going to finish our list here. Next week, we're going to have the safeties. After that, the coaches. All right. So we're about done. with our list. We're gonna go ahead and get that squared away. So we're gonna go on now. We're gonna check out a little sports media here before we get to baseball. So been following this FS1, as we know, the legendary or infamous Skip Bayless has moved on from FS1. So they have kind of shaken up their lineup as well. Let's go over this a little bit here. So this came out today. New York Post is reporting this. Seen this in a couple places. The new morning show, Breakfast Ball. Former WFAN host Craig Carton, Mark Sheriff Stink, former Denver Bronco, and Danny Parkins are from 8 to 10 in the morning. So that's going to replace their Carton show, I think, in terms of title, even though Carton will still be there. So it looks like they're changing the name. I don't know what to say about this show. That's like that's not even there. I mean, that was a big mess, like moving First Things First. I mean, which used to be really good as well. Is there? So that's going to be from 8 to 10. So they're shaking that up a little bit. Schlereth will be there along with Danny Parkins in the morning. I don't know what's going to happen to the rest of that credit. I don't even know. I don't even watch that one. So I think Jacoby was there. I think he was there with it on that show. I think I've seen him a couple times, but I'm not even sure. Yeah. So that's going to be going up against Get Up in the morning, 10 to noon. This is going to be now 10 to noon. Notice now it was 9:30 Undisputed. So they're going directly against First Take now from 10 to noon with the show. It's called The Facility, it looks like. So Emmanuel Acho, LaShawn McCoy, Chase Daniel recently retired, James Jones as well. Former NFLers are going to be talking, I'm assuming, football on there as well. So that's going to be the Undisputed replacement going directly against First Take as well. The other shows, I didn't put a graphic because they're going to stay the same. The Herd is going to stay the same at 12 to noon. There's really no change there as well. And after that, First Things First, Nick Wright show is going to be on after them. I think it's 3 to 5 now, I think, as well. So that's going to stay the same. I think they're lengthening it, though. I think it is going to be a little bit longer. I can't remember. I'm actually home, so working. So I think it was 3 to 4:30, and they recently moved it to 3 to 5. So 3 to 5. After that, Keyshawn Johnson, who was on Undisputed, and Paul Pierce, who was on Undisputed, is going to do Speak. We used to be Speak for Yourself with Joy Taylor, who also used to be on Undisputed. So Joy's going to stay on Speak, and now Keyshawn and Paul Pierce is going to be on that. I actually like Paul Pierce. I think Paul Pierce is not bad on there as well. I thought to me, like without Shannon Sharp, I think he was the highlight to me. I thought I really liked Paul Pierce. I really do. A lot of people in independent media, they get on here and they criticize a lot of it was kind of the same deal with when I worked in public radio for a little while. I was interning in public radio, and they kind of always there wasn't a shift I had like where they didn't bring up how much they hated commercial radio. Like there's this whole thing of that. So I kind of don't feel that way in terms of everything. In a way, I kind of always feel like this is FS1 is the AEW to the WWE, and I think you need AEW. You need something else if you're a fan. You want to watch. You want to see something else, and I think it's the same with FS1 as comparison to ESPN. I think there are plenty of people that only want to watch YouTube or only want to watch, that's fine. I mean, for me nowadays, that's mostly what I'm doing. As far as that, when I do have time to actually do it, but I can say I don't not want FS1 or ESPN to succeed at all. I don't root for that necessarily. And I'm saying all that to preface, I think they got a problem. Like, for me, like a rabid sports fan or somebody like that, I'm not that jumping out of my chair to see any of this stuff. Carton, I think I don't understand it. I don't. He's a New York guy. I think he was good on New York radio. I think he used to work with Boomer, but I don't understand it. Parkins, I think, was on Chicago radio. He's been hanging out with the Bird. Not too bad. So you never know sometimes as well. they're totally going in a different direction with Undisputed Spot, Acho, LaShawn McCoy, Chase Daniel, James Jones. I'm assuming this is a football show. I mean, you got to think that at least during the season for sure, that's what they're going to do. So I don't necessarily want, but I think I'm not. I'd really like to have seen Max Kellerman personally. I think that's the name I kept hearing. The article that I was reading also said they were talking to Michelle Beadle as well. Yeah. So again, interesting to see what happens, where it goes the last couple weeks here. So as we go into football season, they did not. I do not have a start date though for that. They did not. The article did not go on the start date. I would assuming we're about right before the season starts. I'm assuming like right before the season starts, they're gonna get that going because you don't want to start after football season. You want to be starting by week 1 for sure. I'm sure they're building those sets out and everything right now. All right. So let's go ahead and we are going to shift gears here to baseball. And let's talk about the baseball summer series. This is the last one here that we're going to do as far as anything as far as the Oriole franchise. We got one more week next week. We're going to talk about one of my favorite events, the Little League World Series. So we're definitely going to go ahead and talk about that as well. Put me in cold. I'm ready to play today. So we're definitely going to talk about the Little League World Series next week. And this week we are going to talk about the DSL Black. So the Dominican League, the baseball summer series. So we're definitely going to go ahead and talk about these young guys who are actually playing down there as well. Elvis Burrell is the man. He's been there a very long time. So their season is about over. I think. I think maybe got another week or so left as well. So these are guys like this we talked about last week. Guys who are in Dominican leagues baseball. So they're playing from different countries. They're playing. A lot of them are from the Dominican Republic, obviously because they're in the Dominican Republic. But you see some guys from Jamaica. You see some guys from Cuba. You see some guys from different countries playing. They are the future of the minor league system. This is the way it's going to go. So there's a lot of bidding. There's a lot of competing for a lot of these guys. And these guys come here to play at the Dominican Academy. We're going to take a little bit of a look at that as well. The academy there in the Dominican Republic for the Orioles that just opened earlier this year. Emmanuel Corral, 17 years old, Dominican Republic. I think probably he's having very interesting season, getting a lot of stolen bases. A lot of these guys are running very well, running a lot, not a lot of home runs. Looking at the stat sheet there, so definitely. Now these two kind of give you an idea about how young these guys are. Second oldest player, Gusa Gilles, is about 20 years old. Right-handed pitcher Fermin Magalhaes. I'm sorry if I messed the name up. He's the oldest player on the roster at 22 years old. So he's the senior guy. He's the grown man of the group. Team is 26-28 as of a couple days ago. So definitely that is the record. I think Jose Medina looks like he's the best player that they have. He's 18 years old, 2 home runs, 19 RBIs, stole 28 bases, hitting over 300 since getting down there as well. Elvin Garcia at third base, the Dominican Republic, 1 home run, 20 RBIs. Again, look at all the 10. I had to put the stolen base graphic up there, hitting 333. Alex Rincon, definitely 17 years old, hitting 8 RBIs, 10 steals, 287 average. Jerome Newell from Jamaica. Yes, sir. 3 home runs, 24 RBIs, 28. Not the average, not quite as good. Definitely a big contract that he's got, so definitely high expectation for him. Henry Tejada, 19 years old, pitching now 3-1, 2 saves. I think he had the best ERA of anybody. Not a starter or reliever as well. Not a real big guy, kind of small there. Got a ways to go. You got to bring it along. So we don't know how well these guys are. Good to see. He's definitely, I think, the best pitching prospect that they have down there. So this is the beginning. 17, 18, 16 years old. These guys are coming in and they live there full time here at the Dominican Academy there, the stadium. So we're definitely going to check out the stadium here. All right, so we're going to take a look real quick at the Dominican Republic Academy where these guys are playing. It is a gorgeous facility here that the O's have. So they don't have champagne every day, I'm sure, but this is the opening.
Thanks for being here in this very special occasion. To create this impressive modern facility shows the Orioles'
So the
commitment
Orioles
to
for so many
improving and
years didn't
enhancing
participate
their
in a
international
lot
player
of
development.
this international signing, but Mike Elias definitely wanted to do this.
I want to take this moment to announce that our six-pack area, where the pitching mounds are behind this tent, is named in memory of Luis Andres Ortiz Soriano, a left-handed pitcher in the Orioles minor league system who at 19 years old fought a tough battle against cancer. He showed what toughness is all about and that no one battles alone. Luis's family is in attendance here today and are honored guests of the Baltimore Orioles.
I was here 5 years ago when I joined the Orioles, and my first week on the job, somebody handed me the blueprint for Brian's land, and it's just unbelievable to me to see us actually be here right now and look at it. Like Greg said, this isn't just about excelling in baseball. This is going to change the lives of many young men here in this country. I think that this academy and the Orioles' presence in the Dominican Republic is a big statement that it is impossible to excel in the major leagues without an excellent program in this country. And we've done a lot in 5 years. We have the best record in the American League. We have the top minor league system in all of baseball. But this is the most important achievement our group has made in these 5 years.
All right. So there's Mike Elias celebrating there at the academy that just opened. You can see this is state-of-the-art facility that the Orioles have. So this looks better, honestly, than their spring training facility in Sarasota. It's very, very old. So I think they probably need to upgrade there as well. But that's obviously, but that was obviously, in my opinion, excellent upgrade for them. That facility. So that's a good looking facility that they've spent a lot of time and money on down there to get that taken care of. Did want to mention that, and I mentioned that for a reason. Sarasota, their season is over. May next year go into it, but not a lot. But there's a FCL Orioles there as well. They actually play in Sarasota. So this is I don't want to even say that's a team almost because it's kind of not a team, but they basically develop young players, send guys down. Like I know DL Hall a couple years, spent a lot of time in Florida, things like that. They play a few games, but definitely that's also a rookie version of the league. Give guys a chance to develop playing in Sarasota. So this is kind of what the minor league looks like now. Not like it was. Minor leagues, and you're seeing a lot of big corporations and businesses and sports and things like that. They're going international, right? They're not just. They understand that I could go into the money aspect of it, but there's a lot of participation now in their product in different countries. So definitely the Orioles are doing that. FCL Orioles is doing that. They're using a facility they already spend money on. They're already using down there to go ahead and help players. Young players, especially developed players, and they're kind of more what's the word? In-house doing things, right? They're not relying on guys going to Rochester, New York, or whatever. They're kind of starting guys young and maintaining it and keeping it in-house all the way through their careers. So, mention that. Let's get to the big club. Some of y'all are unhappy with the way the Orioles have been going. I can get it. We'll talk about it. Orioles report. So we're going to go ahead and go over that here as well. Orioles report. Play the charge. This is more what we feel like the way it's been going. Scott Hall and Kevin Nash to help, maybe. Like the Orioles. The way it's been going with that. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Orioles report as well. Let me correct this graphic here while we're doing that. Management appreciates your cooperation, Oriole fans, Raven fans. So we lost 2 out of 3 to the Mets. Split a 4-game series with the Red Sox. I think the Red Sox are actually not half bad. I think they have some holes. Offensively, they're not what we are in terms of that, but I think they're similar actually in other areas. Devers, I think, is off the meter, so I think they have to fight hard to get these games. These games now down the stretch. Now we're getting towards September, and we'll see how they look. Lose 2 out of 3 to the Mets. Mets didn't look terrible either. I think they actually have some talent there. Again, they're having bullpen issues like us, unfortunately, but couldn't hold the game late. Pitching has been wild. It's been unbelievable what's going on. So who's hot? Dean Kramer has been good his last 2 starts, and they've needed it. Kramer, I think, after the injury, may be rounding into form. So I think he's been really good the last 2 starts. Gunnar Henderson has been, I think, getting back in there as well. Not quite as loud, but he's starting to hit the long ball more. Ramon Urias. Yes, sir. He has actually been, as hard as I've been on him, as a starter, I've always noticed he's been good. No problem. Good defense, good. Some guys aren't bench players. He's just not. He's just not. I'll stand on that. But he's been really good. Like, I think this is why they sent Kobe Mayo down. He's been actually decent. He's hit a couple home runs as well. Burns probably had the worst start I've ever seen him have in an Oriole uniform or the Brewers uniform. His last start, got into it with the ump in the dugout. Brandon, I had to tell him to sit down. Yeah, we don't need that. We don't need our best starter getting thrown out or get kicked out there. Ryan O'Hearn, not as good lately as well, but the entire bullpen has been just terrible. Dominguez has been the only one. Injuries have factored, but there's no reason for all of you guys to be bad. Like, Perez has had some good outings, but man, just too many names. Kimbrel, oh my goodness, Cano, Tate has been going up and down in the minors. Guys were going up and down in the minors. It's been losing games, period. Like last year, it was the total opposite. We have enough starting pitching because we had good confidence in the bullpen. This year, the bullpen, flat out terrible. No other way to slice that. Orioles on Thursday, option Kobe Mayo back down to Norfolk. Recall Levon Soto in his place. This kept moving too a lot. I mean, the injuries are really, really piling up. Mayo, I think they only kept him to get his first hit. He got his first hit. He went straight down. Mayo's not quite ready yet. No reason to panic. He'll be back. I think he'll certainly be in the conversation next year for starting at third base. His defense has got to improve too. I think that's the other thing too. Like even when Holiday before year was struggling offensively, he played decent defense. Kobe Mayo didn't either. I mean, they didn't even want to leave him in late in games. So get some more work in. I think the rosters expand. You may see him here in a few weeks. Not a huge thing. Right thing to send him down. Cade Povich was called in on Saturday. Brian Baker was optioned to AAA Norfolk in a corresponding move. Povich, I thought, did a good job. I thought it was very interesting. See if he stays. Brian Baker, I don't know if he's good enough. He hasn't been great, but they've really shuffled him up and down a lot as well. Big one here. Zach Eflin on the 15-day DL, retroactive to August 17th, shoulder inflammation. Also, they placed Keegan Aiken temporarily on the paternity list. Congratulations. Keegan Aiken, rookie Cade Povich, and Dylan Tate were also brought up in corresponding move. So that was the corresponding move. Povich and Dylan Tate were actually brought up as well. It doesn't change. It's been changing a lot. On track process in his rehab process. Danny Colombe is aiming to return late in September. Danny Colombe, they need it, man. Like, they have been terrible. Talked about going up and down. Cole Irvin, almost forgot he was in Norfolk. So he was back. He got the start earlier today with decent. Gave him a couple innings there, like 4 innings. Not bad for a spot start. Dylan Tate, of course, move sent back down to AAA. My goodness. Orioles claimed Emmanuel Rivera off waivers from the Marlins. Opened up towards fans by designated infielder Taran Vavra. A lot of talk about Vavra all the time. A lot of people actually like Vavra as far as that goes. But he was designated for assignment. I'm assuming he'll go to Norfolk here if he goes through waivers and gets the assignment. But we will see how that actually goes here. And also as well here next week, Orioles going against the Houston Astros. Astros, I think, are good. I think they have a Hall of Fame player in Altuve. I don't think they were a few years ago, but they're still really good. And I think this is, if the Orioles aren't the best team in the major leagues, I think it absolutely could be the Dodgers. I think more offensive talent. It is always a treat to see Shohei Ohtani anytime you can see him. Ohtani, I think, is must-see TV. And their whole team is obviously really good. I mean, they're obviously terrific. They got Kershaw back as well. Santander has been carrying them offensively. I think the thing that we do have is the home runs. So I think they have the home runs. I think that's probably been saving them from a worse fate. Quickly, bullpen's awful. You don't need me to tell you. Every time late in the game, you got a serious problem. Offensively, defensively, they haven't nearly been as good. Seeing a lot more boneheaded errors, a lot more silly things going on out there. The home runs are saving them. They're still pounding the ball really good. Santander especially has been really good. But, man, you got to do better than this. Like, this is not going to work here. Getting towards September, the playoffs. So we will see if we can go ahead and get in. Next week, talk about our first Maryland game. Saturday, Maryland football Terps preview on Sunday. Definitely check that out on all of our social media platforms. Y'all have a great week. Enjoy all